What's up, everybody? MistrMopar back with another DIY video. This is going to be much different than all of my other videos, but I am going to show you guys how to repurpose a front load washing machine to turn it into a fire pit, and you can also make a couple of bucks doing so. So as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, these front load washing machines tend to have a lot of problems. They go bad. A lot of times you see them free or cheap. So this is a good idea, way you can make a couple extra bucks, a little side hustle, and you can repurpose junk machines. So they do have to be front loader washing machines, and I'm going to show you how to go about taking one and making it into a fire pit that is stainless steel. It'll never rot, never rust out, it will last forever. I sell these as fast as I can get them and make them. I get between $50 and $70 a piece for them. And in the process of doing so, if you do scrap metal like I do, you get copper wire, electric motor, etc. So the first thing that you need to do with these machines is get the top and the face off. So almost all of them have a tray on the front somewhere. You'll see there's a couple Phillips screws in there. We're going to remove those screws. I'm going to come around the back and remove the screws here. There's a Phillips, and I believe it's a 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to get the top off, and I'll show you what to do from there. Most of them are different. Once you pull that plastic tray that you can see on the ground there out of the front, in behind it there's a couple of screws. They're either going to be a Phillips screw or a Torx bit. If they're a Torx bit, they will be a T15. Same on the back. If you don't have a socket and it is just the Torx bit, it's a T15. Remove those, and then we'll get the top off. So I've got the top off. Once you've got that off, you're going to see on the inside there's going to be more screws. Those again, 1/4 inch. Sometimes they'll be 5/16, but most of the time 1/4 inch or the T15. I'm going to use the T15. Another thing that I do is all the loose screws. If you do scrap metal, I just have a 5-gallon bucket, one for the screws and metal, and then a trash can for the plastic. But while I'm here, I go around with my cutting dikes and cut all the tabs for the copper wire. And in the process, when I'm taking the wire out, I cut all the zip ties and stuff off it, so it's just clean copper wire when I go and scrap it. So I'm going to take all the stuff off the top there and then show you how to get the drum out. On this machine, the front is 2 separate pieces with a door, and then the bottom, zoom this out. Some machines will just have one solid piece on the front. If it's like this and it's got a separate piece on the bottom, you're going to pop that bottom off. There's going to be a couple screws on the bottom holding the face with a door. You get those out, and that will allow you to get to the drum. Just like that. Again, this is just going to be scrap when I'm done, so I just use a pry bar, pop the bottom off. You'll see each side will have another screw. These ones are the T15s, same as the rest. There's your control board. And behind it, you can have more screws. Another thing you can do, if you do a little bit of everything like myself, is a lot of times these control boards, you can Google the part number and what kind of machine it is. And some of these have some pretty decent value on eBay, so you can also sell some of the control boards and electronics out of the machine on eBay, as well as make the fire pit and the scrap metal. Now that I've got the front all loose, what I'm going to do is I just take a razor knife. It's going to be hard to do this with one hand, but you just have to go around and cut this rubber boot all the way around the drum. That will allow the door to pop off. You might have to pry off, some of the plastic on the side there. Same with this on top. I'm just going to cut this, get it out of the way. And there goes my blade, but I'll get that off and I'll show you what it looks like from there. Got the front cut off, got all my copper wire out of the way. Now you're going to notice there's a couple springs and a bunch of cement. That's actually what makes these front load machines so heavy, is the counterweights. It's all cement. You see a big piece on the bottom there, one on the top here, and then another on the top there. Most of those are held on with a 13 millimeter. I remove those before I take the drum out because it's a lot of excess weight trying to throw around. So I'm going to remove those, and then I'll show you how I get the springs out. Got all the cement off. Now, in order to get the drum out, again, you've got to remove those springs. Now all I do, I'm going to have to pause this because I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, but just take a good sized pry bar, get up under the spring, and just pop it both sides. Once you do that, the drum will fall forward. There is a couple legs on the bottom. You'll notice here and there. You might have to cut those or just break them off. And then once you have the drum folded out, there's going to be some rubber hoses. Just cut those with your razor knife. I'll get that out and show you from there. See, I got the drum out. You'll see the electric motor on the bottom, the sprocket here for the gear, and the belt. I personally just cut the belt. Take my razor knife, cut the hose off. That will allow the whole drum to fall forward. Then I'm going to remove this gear, remove the electric motor, get the plastic off, and we'll pick it back up from there. The sprocket, gear, whatever you want to call it, they're all basically on these front load washing machines the same way. Some of them will have a star torque bit, a big one. Some will have a 15/16 nut. This one's a 24 millimeter. Be careful removing this because you need that. That is your base for your fire pit, and I will show you in the end here. Once you have the drum free, you need to separate the plastic from it. This one's just held on with clips. I'm just going to use my pry bar and pop them off. Some of them will have 10 millimeter bolts screwing them together, but you got to go ahead and get the plastic off. There are a few select machines that you may have to use a Sawzall and cut around it. A little bit of a pain, but this one, it's just the clips. So I'm going to get those off and separate that, and then I'll show you once I get that done. Got the drum out, plastic off. Once I pried those clips off, it just comes right out. This is where, flip it upside down, take the gear that you took off the bottom. You're going to actually put it back on, but you're going to put it back on upside down. Bolt that right back to it. Pause this and do that. So there it is. Got the gear on, gives you a nice little pedestal. The last thing that you need to do is remove the plastic on the inside. Some of them will have screws on them. This one doesn't. So the only thing that you need to do for these, just take a pry bar. I'm gonna have to pause it and do it, but you're just gonna tap them down and then get inside and pop it off. And there you have the best fire pit money can buy. Stainless steel, plenty of holes for breathing. It will never rust, it will never rot out. I sell these. This is a medium size. This will be $50. The larger ones go up to $70, and I sell these as fast as I can get them. So this is just a video for you, show you how to make a little extra money, how to repurpose old junk. Front load washing machines, again, they do have to be the front loaders. They're the only ones that are set up with a stainless drum without any plastic on the bottom, that have the gear you can use as a pedestal. You get all the screws out of it, get all the copper wire, the electric motor, and anything that you see inside with a part number. You can look that part number up on Google, see what it is with the model of the machine. And a lot of these parts are worth sometimes upwards of $100 on eBay for the control panels and stuff. So different from my usual content, but this is another thing I do as a little side hustle. All in all, when all is said and done, I'll get probably close to $100 out of the fire pit, the copper metal, the copper wire, the electric motor, and then of course all this other junk that came out of it goes back in the shell and then goes to scrap. And I've got a couple more I'm going to make over there. I do get a lot of these free because they're junk and people want them out of the way, but I also do offer up to 20 bucks for them for people that are wanting to sell them, because at $20 I'm still doubling my money in the long run. Once you get good at it, you can usually take a fire pit out and have it all complete and done within half hour or so. So again, just a quick little easy way to make some extra money, nice little side hustle. Figured I'd show you guys one of the other things that I do. Hope you enjoy the video. Hope some of you guys can you know, make a little extra money with it. And not something I usually say, but don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button. It does help me out. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.